So, sorry in advance if, audio gets weird and that I haven't been posting much lately, but, I have been, um, watching a lot of videos on Kingdom Hearts 3 and reading a few articles here and there, and, this year is supposed to be the year where, it, well, not that it comes out, but we get a lot of information on it. It probably won't come out till next year or the year after. So there is a chance we might get one more side game. I'm not going into that this video. This video, what I'm gonna do is I'm going to talk about a crack-headed idea I got a while back. About who the playable characters in Kingdom Hearts 3 will be. And I thought, what if it's all 7 Guardians of Light? I'm gonna do a head count and explain my little what ifs on how playability will be. Um, First off is Sora. We already have a glimpse at how he's gonna play. You know, so I don't really need to go into much. What I am going to say though is that the Keyblade transformations for him seem to make his Keyblades even more specialized than they were in 2. Which means now instead of having definitively good Keyblades, either we're going to have definitively good Keyblades for this fighting style, or or the Kingdom Hearts series as far as cheesing the game goes and speed runs, there might be definitively superior play styles. Kingdom Hearts 2 kind of have had that. As some of you may know, if any of you have played or seen a level 1 challenge run on critical mode, which is insane. Um, but, but in Kingdom Hearts 3, maybe that'll be, I don't know, a bigger, I guess, issue. It depends on how you look at it. Then we have Riku. This is kind of a shitty picture of him, but I really like the artwork. So, I thought I would use it. Anyways, or at least the positioning. But yeah, for him, I imagine he's going to carry over kind of what was going on in Dream Drop Distance, where he will, where instead of having drive forms in the sense that Sora had them, his will be the different fighting styles he had in Dream Drop Distance, where, he'll be able to drive into an alternative style for himself. Or maybe instead of a Keyblade transformation thing, each individual Keyblade will alter the way he fights or will alter how he fights instead of what he fights with. Not really sure on that. Maybe for his drive he has his dark mode back, but in a more controlled manner, I guess. Then we have Kyrie. It's hard to say how Kyrie's gonna fight. I have a couple ideas in my head. Um, maybe she'll act as a middle ground between Sora and Riku on the speed versus power thing, kind of like how Aqua did with Ventus and Terra. Have maybe she'll take after Aqua in a different way, where she'll be more magic orientated than the other two. Um, Perhaps she'll play more like Sora did in Kingdom Hearts 1, where her inexperience is quite obvious. Um, I'm thinking for drive forms, maybe she could tap into Naminé's power, since they're the same person, and tap into Naminé's power to sort of copy Sora's drive forms, and have a false Keyblade in the same sense that Shion did for any Sync Blade stuff. So like Sora's drive forms will get their Kingdom Hearts 3 upgrades, while Kyrie's will play more like how they did in Kingdom Hearts 2. So if there's anyone who doesn't like how Sora has changed in Kingdom Hearts 3, Kyrie will play more as he was in previous titles. Those are just my ideas. I could be totally off here. That's just some ideas I have. Then there's Axel. With him, I can imagine him not really changing too much from how he is in other games, as more just kind of letting loose more, since they kind of hint at, now that the organization members are human again, they don't have the same limitations that they did as nobodies. So maybe he'll let loose more, and I was thinking instead of drive forms, where he would normally drive, instead he has on-the-fly weapon switching between his Keyblade and his Chakram. I have no idea how he'd fight with a Keyblade. There is a rumor that Roxas learned how to fight from him, by looking at how their air combos and Days are kind of similar. So maybe he'll fight like how Roxas did in Days, and in turn kind of fight like Sora on the ground, but like with his own flair to it. No pun intended. And of course, as far as magic is concerned, he'll be a lot more fire orientated. So his magic would be a tad limited, but I can imagine him having a way to cast fire spells without them having the fire element to kind of cope with this. And we have Ventus. I can imagine him not really being changed too much from Birth by Sleep visually with his fighting. But of course, with the lack of command styles, they'd have to find a way to make it so that, or not command styles, command decks. They'd have to find a way to make it so that he can still do that kind of thing, without actually having access to a command deck. And the command styles, I can see replacing drive forms, and maybe working similar, and maybe kind of fusing with the weapon transformation, where him and Aqua have. I also don't see Aqua changing that much, so I'm gonna bring this over to her too. I can see both of them having their drive forms, or their command cells, replacing weapon transformation, and possibly replacing drive form. Maybe with the drive form they go into their armored states, or maybe summon up their Keyblade gliders, and they have a different set of command styles they can use for a while. Like, say, their normal forms would have set A, and their armored forms would have set B, and you can switch those around a little bit. But while they're in their Keyblade glider, they have a totally different set of things, special just to that. Kind of like how Terra's stuff, while he was doing glider mode in Kingdom Hearts 2 had a completely different moveset for a little bit. Along those lines, I can also see at least Aqua getting upgrades similar to Terra as far as moveset goes. Can't see this so much for Roxas, or Ven, excuse me, because he's been asleep for a long time, but we'll see about that. And there's Mickey. Mickey, we've seen a lot of how he fights. He's a little pinball. Given that he gives a drive form to Sora, I can imagine he has them, but his drive forms, I imagine, being based on his appearances in other Disney movies. Like, say, one drive form changes him to Fantasia Mickey, where he gets magic everywhere, kind of like Sora's wisdom form. Let's see, another one maybe being Musketeer Mickey, like in Dream Drop Distance, which is more like Sora's Valor or something. Also, I can imagine him not really having Keyblade transformations as more a momentum type thing, where the more he's attacking and running around smacking things, the faster and more mobile he gets. But the moment you stop doing any of that, he goes back to zero. So I can see them having fun with that. Also, two other characters that people are really hoping to see playable are Roxas and Gion. I don't want to talk about Roxas too much here because of my own personal feelings of what's going to happen to him in 3. But I'll say, because I'm going to save that for another video. But say he is playable with both the Keyblades. I imagine he wouldn't be that different. More different than Aqua and Ven, but not so much so. All I really imagine is them making his fighting style more like how it is in the original Kingdom Hearts 1 Final Mix secret video, where he kind of has more of that burst damage that he has going on. But, at the same time, he has very, very good crowd control and kind of flowing how he fights in Kingdom Hearts 2 into that, where he does have the fast moves and he does really good against one opponent. I can see him kind of being this omnipotent melee fighter at the cost of not having very good magic. Since across the series, the only time he's ever canonically seen using magic is for light-based attacks. Yes, he has magic in days, but I'm not really counting that because everyone could use anything magic-wise in days. And that's really weird to me, like seeing, say, Axel fire off Blizzard, or Zaldin firing off Thunder. I just found that weird. So, I don't really see them going that route with him. And just making him very, very melee heavy. But at the same time, making it so that what few magic he does have is very powerful, if not rather costly. And his melee, is very flexible. I can also see them using stuff like drive and weapon transformations to alter the way he attacks, so that like he has a melee style, or he has a close range style, a crowd control style, maybe a more long-range one that focuses more on things like strike rate and dashing attacks, stuff like that. And then Jean, I see being the flip side of that, where her melee is almost completely unchanged to how it was in Days, which in turn was just a less flexible Sora, but on the other hand, her magic being absolutely insane because of how she copes with the fact that her Keyblade is illegitimate. Um, so, uh, so she could pull off some of the more crazy magic attacks seen in Chain of Memories or Birth by Sleep, or to maybe a lesser extent Day or Dream Drop Distance. In fact, I can see her playing a lot like Chain of Memories Sora as far as techniques go, of course without the cards, but I can see her doing a lot of that stuff where she has, yes, a good set of melee things, but very wide range of options with her magic, and a very powerful range of options with her magic. And in turn, I can see her using Drive with her magic sets, similar to how I said Roxas could use drives for his melee. And on top of that, all uh, with the mention of multiplayer, assuming they go this route with it, I can also see Donald and Goofy being playable, of course, but just not having as many options as they do. But I can see kind of the D-Link system being expanded so that, like, you can pull the other character from a different save, or maybe they'll go a route similar to Dream Drop Distance where it's all one save, but you flip between the characters at save points and removing the drop gauge because it makes no sense in that context. So you can pull the characters from that other storyline into yours to have co-op mode, and they would replace one of your allies if you did that, which I think would be really cool. And that's about all I have to say on this. If you guys want, I can do more discussion videos on stuff like this, not even just about Kingdom Hearts, but about other games too. And of course, and on top of that, I am currently in the works of finding a new game to play for you guys, since, as I said before, I believe I said before, Yume Nikki is on an indefinite hiatus. I will finish that game. I promise I will finish that game when I get the time and when I can either get the files transferred onto my laptop or when I can get around to clearing out unneeded crap from my desktop. So we will see what ends up happening. And until then, I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.